Hi guys, once again this is Sir Junel and welcome to our English class. But before anything else, would like to acknowledge and thank the ones who prepared our PowerPoint presentations for the next two lessons that we will have. Ma'am Angeline Chiki Mendoza and Ma'am Teresa Ann Pineda. So let's begin with our Quarter 4 Week 1 lesson. English 8 Quarter 4 modules 1 and 2, using appropriate grammatical signals or expressions suitable to each pattern of idea development. So under this, we will talk about the patterns general to particular, claim and counterclaim, problem solution, and cause effect. So here we can see an article or a passage made by Jazel Ann S. Ravelo, Bulacan, home of great treasures. So please take time to read this article. Okay, and now let's answer the following questions. What is the main idea of the paragraph? What are the details that support the main idea? What are the signal words used in the paragraph? Now, why did we ask these questions? Because it leads us to what a paragraph is. Paragraph is a group of sentences about a certain idea or topic. We know that a sentence is a group of words. Paragraph is a group of sentences. But these sentences must be in sync. It must be about a certain idea or topic. A paragraph is also considered as one of the building blocks of essays and all other genres of prose. And its purpose? To express a speaker's thoughts on a particular point in a clear way that is unique and specific. Now let's talk about structure. Paragraph structure. This refers to the main parts of your paragraph. So what are the three main parts of our paragraph? First, we have the topic sentence. Second, the supporting sentences. And third, concluding sentence. So when we say topic sentence, this presents the main idea of the paragraph. It is usually found at the beginning, but can also be stated in the middle or the end. The topic sentence directs and summarizes the paragraph. How about supporting sentences? From the word itself, they support the topic sentence, the main idea of the paragraph. They provide details, facts, explanations, examples, etc. to expand and discuss the topic sentence. How about concluding sentence? From the word itself, it concludes, it sums up the ideas in the paragraph. Usually, it restates the main idea and sometimes provides conclusions about the paragraph. So once again, when we say paragraph structure, this refers to the main parts of your paragraph. And what are the three main parts of our paragraph? Topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. Now, idea development and organization is very important because for our paragraph to be an effective one, it should be unified. It should be clear, coherent, and well developed. So we should do well remember that in developing our ideas, we can use different patterns. So from this point, we will discuss those different patterns in idea development. The first one, general to particular. We'll also discuss claim and counterclaim. Next, problem solution and cause effect. Let's talk about general to particular, or another word for particular is a specific pattern. So let's see how it goes. We can see an inverted triangle. So on top, general idea. At the bottom, particular or specific ideas. Because general to particular pattern is also known as deductive method. We may start our paragraph with a broad topic, followed by supporting details. We can provide examples, explanations, descriptions about the topic. Now, signal words or transitions can also be used to express general and particular ideas. So what are those signal words or transitional signals that we can use in this regard? So here are the list of the words that we can use to signal general statements, generally, primarily, largely in general. While for major details, we can use the words first, second, third, and so on. Signal words used for particular ideas, specifically, particularly, for instance, and so on. So what do we need to do with this list? Familiarize ourselves with this list of signal words for general statements, major details, and particular ideas. Let's have an example. General idea, smoking is dangerous to your health. Particular or specific idea, smoking can cause illnesses like cancer, respiratory problems, and other chronic diseases. So we can use a transition word or a signal for our general idea. If we go back to the previous page, you can see that we can use generally, smoking is dangerous to your health. We can do so. How about for particular or specific idea? We can use the signal word particularly, smoking can cause illnesses like cancer, respiratory problems, and other chronic diseases. Or we can also use for instance or the word for example. So that is how we do the general to particular pattern of our paragraph. Now let's have an activity. Choose from general idea and particular or specific idea. So all you have to do is to choose or to write G or P. Number 1, Mr. and Mrs. Lopez worked hard to provide for their children. G or P? General or particular? The answer? General. Because it did not specify the details how they work hard or they provide for their children. Number 2, Mr. and Mrs. Lopez work overtime to provide for their 3 sons and 2 daughters. General or particular? The answer? Particular. Because in this sentence, we can see that the way they provide for their children was already specified. They work overtime. Number 3, Lauren has a sweet tooth. General or particular? The answer? General. Why? Because it was not specified. We say Lauren has a sweet tooth. But try to look at number 4 sentence. Lauren loves eating sweets, especially chocolates and ice cream. Obviously, this is particular because now it specifies the sweets that Lauren loves to eat. And number 5, every Saturday I go to the supermarket to buy my weekly supplies like food and toiletries. General or particular? Particular, because this sentence gives details. It's very specific. Let's now proceed to the second pattern, claim and counterclaim. So when we say claim, this refers to a person's stand. Please do remember that. Claim refers to a person's stand on a certain subject or issue, whereas a counterclaim pertains to the opposing viewpoint on a topic or a stand. Opposing viewpoint. Let's have the signal verbs for claims. We have verbs agree, claim, conclude, discuss, illustrate, observe, say, and so on. Here are the signal words or verbs for counterclaims. Argue, refute, disagree, oppose, contradict, however, and so on. So, all you have to do once again is to familiarize yourselves with these terms or signal words for verbs for claims and for words for counterclaims. Now, to show evidence from other resources, you may use the following transitions as well. Now, here's an excerpt of an article, and please notice how the author effectively used grammatical signals. What are the grammatical signals that he used? For claims and counterclaims, we have the words according to. Obviously, this is a claim. Based on, a claim again. It's often believed that, even though, here's another word but, which shows counterclaim, point, and this word show claim and counterclaims. So please always take note of the words or the signal words that express claims and counterclaims. Choose from claim or counterclaim, CL or CC. Number 1. Aristotle and Ptolemy believe that the Earth is the center of the universe. Is it a claim or counterclaim? Remember, claims are a person's stand about an issue. Counterclaim, opposing idea. The answer? It's a claim. Let's look at number 2. However, this was refuted by Nicolaus Copernicus, who proposed that the solar system is sun-centered. Claim or counterclaim? The answer? Counterclaim, with the presence of the word or signal word however. Number 3. Famous scientist Galileo Galilei proved the heliocentric theory of Copernicus when he observed the movement of the heavenly bodies with the use of his telescope. Claim or counterclaim? The answer? Claim. Unlike the second sentence, this did not contradict or oppose any idea. So this is a claim by Galileo Galilei. Number 4. Johannes Kepler agreed with Copernicus and stated that all planets orbit the sun in an elliptical path. Claim or counterclaim? The answer? Claim. So we are done with the first 2 patterns of idea development: general to particular, claim and counterclaim, which is part of our module number 1. We will now proceed with module number 2, which discusses the other 2 patterns of idea development. And they are problem and solution, cause, effect. So let's talk about problem and solution first. This is a pattern of organization where the idea of the passage is showed as a dilemma or problem and something that needs to be done to remedy this issue is the solution. It's very self-explanatory. Problem, the dilemma concerning issue, solution, the remedy. So here are the signal words and phrases. Please familiarize yourselves with these words. Examples. Problem: the fire destroyed the school building. Solution: the school thereby requested the Department of Education for a new building. Problem: due to the increasing number of cases caused by the virus, still many of us are ignoring the health protocols set by the Interagency Task Force, or IATF. Solution: therefore, we should listen to the government and follow the health protocols to lessen the number of cases. Problem: the weather is too cold to grow crops all year long. Solution: so it leads to the idea that greenhouse is a special building that stays warm during winter. Let's have a matchmaking activity. The problem. The solution. Number 1. Peg had a cold. The answer: accordingly, she took medicine. Number 2. Rob was hungry. What is the solution? So he ate 2 bowls of soup. Number 3. John tore his paper. That's the problem. The solution is: hence he used tape to fix it. Number 4. The garden had weeds. That's the problem. So what's the solution? E. So mom pulled the weed. Number 5. Ted's bedroom was messy. The solution is: therefore, he picked his toys up. So that is how problem-solution pattern can be used for idea development. And finally, let's talk about our 4th type of pattern of idea development: cause and effect relationship. Cause refers to the driving force or the reason why things happen. So that's our keyword there, reason. While the effect refers to the result of an action or course. So our keyword here, result. Cause is the reason, effect is the result. Cause is the why, effect is the what. Here are our signal words. So here's an example. The present pandemic leads to global economic shutdown. Hence, many employed workers were dismissed for their work. Question to ask in mind. 2 questions. First, the why. Why were many employed workers dismissed from their work? Answer to that question: because of the present pandemic that leads to global economic. Question to ask in mind: what? What is the outcome of the pandemic shutdown? Answer to that question: hence, many employed workers were dismissed from their work. So the WH question used why, which is the cause. The WH question used what, which shows the effect. Signal word in the sentence, there's no signal word for the cause. Yet for the effect, we can see the signal word hence. Let's have another exercise for cause and effect. Number 1. The car would not start because it ran out of gas. Cause or effect? Because it ran out of gas. Obviously, because of the signal word because, the answer is cause. Number 2, because she did not see the well. Cause or effect? Obviously, it's the cause again. Number 3, due to the uncontrollable price increase. Cause or effect? The answer? Cause. Because of the word due to, or the phrase due to. That's your signal. Number 4, she studied well in it. The answer? Effect. You can see here that the first part of the sentence talks about the cause. So automatically, the next part, plus trying to understand the meaning of the sentence, talks about the effect. And number 5, Tesha was quiet because her sister was sleeping. The underlined part of the sentence, obviously. So this ends our discussion of our quarter 4 modules 1 and 2. And at this point, I would like to acknowledge the diligence of the following students. From Carnation, we have Angelica Cañete, Rain Hoson, Aprilyn Del Rosario, David Ezequiel Fajardo, Cassandra Kailipan, Jasmine Camua, Patricia de la Cruz, Mariel Caponpon, Isabel Claro, Fiona Nicole Camua, and Jervin Sniper. And for Daisy, we have JV Makiling, Nianjana Lopez, James Alfonso, Altea Caperal, and RJ Manlangit. Keep it up, guys! Hi guys! So once again, this is Sir Janelle, and we are now about to discuss English 8 Quarter 4, Modules 3 and 4. What are our topics for Modules 3 and 4? First, expanding the content of an outline using notes from primary and secondary sources. So first we will learn how to expand the content of our outline. And we will also discuss what primary and secondary sources are. This topic is very important. The next one, for module number 4, we will discuss synthesizing essential information found in various sources. So, essential information. And of course, the definition of the word synthesis and how we can synthesize. So, these are the topics for modules 3 and 4, quarter number 4. Let's begin with module number 3. So, let's get technical first. What is an outline per se? Here's an example of an outline. So we have the title, of course, Roman numeral number 1 as the main topic, another Roman numeral number 2, another main topic. Under the main topic, we have the first subtopic, capital letter A, second subtopic, capital letter B. Under them, we also have the supporting details and another set of supporting details. Now, looking at this framework, let's answer the following questions. Which of the following statements describes an outline? First or second statement? The answer? The first statement. An outline is a brief summary. Remember that. It's a brief summary of a specific topic arranged in a systematic order using letters and numbers. Number 2. What are the parts of an outline? The answer? It contains main idea, just like what we can see in our example, subtopics, and supporting details. Number 3. How is an outline written? So, we can see that the entries are indented. The main topic is written in Roman numerals, subtopics in capital letters, supporting details in small letters, and so on. Now, why do we use outlining? So this part is very important. This point is very important. The answer: to organize information in a logical and systematic manner. So this is how important learning how to outline. When we know how to outline, we can organize the information that we have, and our organization of our information is in a logical and systematic manner. Number 5, how are we going to develop an outline? Research information using primary and secondary sources. So now, let's get ready for the next phase of our exercise. It's expanding the content of an outline using notes from primary and secondary sources. We know now what is an outline and what primary and secondary sources are. But let's dig deeper. There are 2 types of outlines mentioned here: topic outline and sentence outline. So topic outline are words and phrases, but sentence outlines are composed of sentences. Here's an example. Here's a topic outline, and here is a sentence outline. we see that sentence outline is a bit longer because it is composed of sentences. For topic, just words and phrases. Now, primary source provides first-hand evidence. Remember this part, guys. Primary sources are first-hand evidence that originally and directly comes from the main source of information. And what are our main sources of information? Artifacts, autobiographies, emails, diaries, interviews, letters, photographs, surveys, and speeches. So those are examples of primary sources. When we say secondary source, these are second-hand observation and details from other researchers. Biographies, commentaries, dictionaries, documentaries, history books, literary reviews and textbooks, and some secondary sources of information. It is clear then that our sources of information, we have two, primary and secondary. Primary, our main source of information. Secondary, or second-hand observation from other researchers. Let's break trends. Pop, if the statement follows the principle in writing an outline, and flop, if otherwise. Number 1, outlining is a tool used for a better note-taking? The answer? Pop. Yes, it is. An outline is really an important tool for note-taking. Number 2 is a flop, because the topics and points are not systematically written based on length. It does not just we do not just base the writing of our topics and points on length. Number 3, more specified topics and points are indented farther to the left considering the level of importance. Pop or flop? The answer? Flop. Number 4, subtopics or points are connected with the main topic. Answer? Pop. That's correct. Selected and significant details are written in capital letters. The answer? Flop. Let's now proceed with module number 4, synthesizing essential information found in various sources. So how can we synthesize information? There's a very important point here, guys. Analyzing and making meaning for information gathered are the day-to-day tasks of humans. Every day, we analyze. Every day, we synthesize. Pieces of facts, opinions that we accumulate, that we generate to create new meaningful ideas. For example, telling a story or reporting to your loved ones about your day is a form of summarizing, analyzing, and making meaning. So, unknowingly, you are actually synthesizing every day. What is synthesis? It's a combination of different pieces of information into a whole. Synthesizing is about summarizing, analyzing various sources to create something new and meaningful. Let's look at this diagram below. So we have source number 1. Source number 2. Personal ideas and observation. Let's add them all together. We have the source number 1 plus source number 2, personal ideas and observation, synthesized idea. So like this jigsaw puzzle, source number 1, source number 2, and our own ideas represent different things. Yet, when they are combined together, these pieces fit together and a new idea emerges which is necessary in writing academic essays or research papers. When making assignments, remember this, guys, now you should not only copy the ideas from your source, but also analyze them to create meaningful interpretation. Now, for us to fully understand what synthesis is, here's the step-by-step approach on how to make synthesis. Reading and noting key points. So here's how to read and note key points. We can use the ability or the skill of paraphrasing, providing a version of a text other than the original text without replacing it. Here's the original text, we paraphrase it. So that's reading and noting key points. Number 3, identifying similarities and differences from the sources. So we use Venn diagram to do so. Prodigal son, Good Samaritan. Here's the differences, side, left and right. And in the middle, we write their similarities. So that's another step. And the fourth step is to analyze and write our own statement about the topic. Essential information, personal ideas, combined together, we form synthesis. We analyze, we summarize. Choose synthesis, always. Now let's choose the ideas accurately, describe a good synthesis. Put a check in your answer sheet to show your answer. Okay, one is merging multiple perspectives, correct? Another one, a good synthesis compares different theories. Also incorporating important points from reading. Using other people's idea to develop own idea. Aiming to be original. This ends our discussion of Quarter 4, Modules 3 and 4. And once again, I would like to acknowledge diligent students from different sections. Start with Dalia, John Carlo Perez, Abby Ashley Pingol, Althea May Perote, Sharina Polintan, Mylene Radam, Sami Pasha, and Nelson Angelusi. For Kamya, we have Paolo Dionisio, Jamie Inocencio, Mianelli Gonzalez, Sofia Jane Geronimo, Gabriel Jimenez, Vanessa Grande, Rian Domingo, Daniel Gantalao, Neil Guad, Pauline Francisco, Jory Lois Esguerra. And for Rosal, we have Fredmore Cruz, Marichi Cruz, Richelle de la Cruz, Reishi Fabros, Joanna Marifer Garcia, Alexandra Rain Jimenez, Mary Jane De Cara, and Jesse Lozano. Indeed, you applied Romans 12:11. Be industrious. Do not loiter at your business. Keep it up, guys! Hi guys! So once again, this is Sir Jonel, and welcome to our English class, Quarter 4, Week 3. But before anything else, before we proceed with our lesson, I would like to acknowledge Ma'am Rochelle de la Paz for creating or for preparing this PowerPoint presentation for us. Let's begin. English 8 Quarter 4 Modules 5, 6, and 7 talks about first, composing effective paragraphs. Second, developing paragraphs that illustrate different text types. Third, delivering a self-composed speech using all the needed speech conventions. So let's begin with the first one for module number 5, composing effective paragraphs. So let's have a short review. What is a paragraph? It's a group of sentences about a certain idea or topic. If a sentence is a group of words, paragraphs, or a paragraph is a group of sentences. It is considered one of the building blocks of essays, and the purpose of it is to express a speaker's thoughts on a particular point in a clear way that is unique and specific to that paragraph. So how can we compose an effective paragraph? Well, a good body paragraph will have the following: the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. Do you remember these points? Of course, the topic sentence is the first sentence of the body paragraph. It introduces the topic of the paragraph. Supporting sentences, from the word itself, support the topic sentence. They elaborate and explain the point of the paragraph, while concluding sentence is the last sentence in the paragraph. So remember, a good body paragraph will have the following: topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. So how can you compose a paragraph effectively? Well, a good paragraph possesses the following elements. First, unity, coherence, and third, adequate development. As we can see in the illustration, the elements of an effective paragraph are unity. The paragraph should express a single thought that unifies all the sentences it has. Coherence. All sentences in a paragraph should clearly relate to one another systematically or logically. And third, it should have an adequate development. The topic of the paragraph should be discussed entirely and sufficiently by providing supporting details. So once again, in order for us to compose a paragraph effectively, we should keep in mind these three elements: unity, coherence, and adequate development. Now, there are many ways to elaborate the main idea of a paragraph, and we can make sure that our paragraph is well developed by using one or more methods below. First, define your terms. Second, provide examples and illustrations. Third, explain a procedure. Fourth, compare and contrast. And fifth, evaluate cause and effect. It is important to note that ideas between sentences and paragraphs should be related so that they flow smoothly. We already discussed this when we talked about coherence. There should be a smooth flow of ideas inside the paragraph. So what do we use in order to accomplish that? Transition words and phrases are needed. So we will see in the table the common transition words and phrases that are useful in connecting ideas within and between paragraphs. So in the first column, we'll see here the transition words or phrases. In the second column, what it shows. And the third column, a given example. So let's begin with this row. These are the transition words and phrases. And also, again, first, in addition, and moreover. What does it show? More or similar information will be given. Information is elaborated on the same general idea. Here's an example. It is a good reason to wake up early in the morning, to water your plants, to make sure they get enough sunlight, and to watch them grow silently. What is the transition word in this sentence? Is the word and. So it showed more of similar information which was given inside the sentence. So please familiarize yourselves with these transition words, what they show, and these given examples of how these transition words were used in sentences. Now we have a task given to us here. Read the given paragraph, complete the table by supplying the needed information. At this point, I will pause this video to give you the time to read this paragraph. Finish reading? Now, what is the topic sentence? Yes, having a green thumb is not a requirement for you to become a good gardener. What about the supporting sentence? Let's give the first supporting sentence. Yes, it is nothing but myth. What you need is the proper knowledge about your plants. Do we have any other supporting sentence in this paragraph? Yes, we do. It is because different types of plants need different types of caring. Another supporting sentence is, also, you should not forget your patience, diligence, and sense of responsibility to ensure that your plants will grow healthy. What are the transition words or phrases used? Well, we have the word also. So we see how this paragraph used transition words to connect or to show the smooth flow of information inside the paragraph. So that ends our first module. Let's proceed to module number 6, developing paragraph that illustrates different text types. Read the short paragraph and answer the questions that follow. You may pause this video to give you time to read this paragraph. Are you done reading? Now, what is the gist of the paragraph? What is it all about? A. Harmonious family relationship. B. Making family life easy. C. Likes and dislikes of family members. Or D. Love of parents to their children. What's your answer? Well, the correct answer is letter A. Harmonious family relationship. How about question number 2? What sentence tells the main idea? Is it A, the first sentence, B, the fourth sentence, C, the second sentence, or D, the third sentence? The answer? Letter A, the first sentence. Usually, the main idea is written in the first part of the paragraph, in the first sentence. The topic sentence is usually found there. Writing is one of the most neglected skills as it is often considered complex, especially by students. Do you consider writing complex? Are you having a hard time in writing in English? Well, aside from grammar and punctuation, there are many things that are still needed to be considered in coming up with a fully developed paragraph, like the text type, the purpose, and structure. In the next slide. So here are the different types of text. We will discuss them one by one. Let's begin with the narrative text type. What is it? It's a text type that tells a story. So please do remember that point. Narrative text type tells a story with the events sequenced in chronological order. There are characters, setting, various elements or events are there. These examples may include short stories, novel, poem, legend, and fable. What's the purpose? To entertain the readers through telling a story. It's written in the first person when it comes to language, or also it could be written in the third person perspective. It is written in the past or present tense, and it uses creative language to create an image in the minds of the readers. The structure is that there is a beginning and ending, characters, setting, conflict, and resolution. And finally, the events are arranged in chronological order. So here's a sample text. Who would like to read? Thank you. Now this was taken from the story of the aged mother by Matsuo Basho. So why can we consider it a narrative text type? Because it tells a story. It has characters, setting, various events. It is sequenced in chronological order. And the goal is to entertain the readers. I hope that narrative text type is already clear with you now. Let's proceed to the second type of text, which is what we call expository text type. So from the word itself, it exposes, it explains, it informs, describes the subject of the readers by providing factual information from reliable sources. Examples of this are reports, textbooks, historical, economic, or scientific information. Its purpose is to simplify and expose things, ideas, persons, and places through educational purposeful facts. Language focuses on the subject, and it is written in the past or present tense just like the narrative text type. They use signal words, diagrams, charts, and illustrations. Also uses bullet points or numbers. Here's an example text. Now who would like to read this for us? Thank you. So this is an example of an expository text type because it exposes, it simplifies things, ideas. So we saw here that it simplified the information. The third text type that we will discuss is what we call explanatory text type. From the word itself, it explains. It gives explanation a process of how and why something happens. Examples of these are instructions, procedures, and directions. The main purpose is to explain what, how, and why a certain thing happened. It uses what tense of the verb? Present tense of the verb. So see the difference? Yes. The narrative and the expository text type uses the past and the present, but for the explanatory text type, it always uses the present tense of the verb. Uses technical terminologies, uses action verbs, begin with an opening statement that introduces the subject to be delved into. Who would like to read this sample text for us? Thank you. So we see here that this is an explanatory text type because it explains how to make sukang pombong or sukang sasa. How about the fourth text type? Factual text type. This text type gives useful facts and information on a certain subject, topic, or issue. News reports, interviews, and history is an example of this. So to give information by means of facts, to explore different point of views on a given subject is its purpose. Present tense as well is used. Uses formal language. Title is written in question form. Provides background information of the issue and gives details about what, who, when, or where of a subject. So we see here, which is taken from https://www.bulacan.gov.ph pombong/history.php, a sample text of a factual text type because it gives useful facts and information about the town of Pombong. Next text type is what we call personal recount text type. This retells an action, interest, event, or activity that the writer has been directly involved. Examples of these are journal, personal letter, anecdote, biography. What is its purpose? Build a relationship between the readers and the writer by providing information that the latter has been personally involved. The language is that first-person pronoun is always used, action verbs are used, everyday language is used, written in the past tense, and gives details to who, what, when, where, and why, and it is also arranged in chronological order. So once again, in this sample text below, we can see that this is a personal recount text type because it retells an action, interest, event, or activity that the writer has been directly involved. Persuasive text type is the next one that we would like to discuss, and this is a type of text that presents the point of view of the writer and seeks to convince the reader to agree. Example of these may include advertisement, commercial, editorial, and its purpose? To convince. From the word itself, its purpose is to convince, to persuade, to encourage the readers of the merits of adopting a particular viewpoint or taking a specific course of action. It's written in simple present tense. It uses concession, comparison, and cause and effects of ordinating conjunctions. It states opinion on a specific topic, uses facts and evidences to support arguments. Here below is an example of a persuasive text type. Now, let us identify the text type described in the following statements. Choose among narrative, expository, explanatory, factual, recount, or persuasive. Number 1. How things work and why things happen. The answer is expository. Number 2. This text type convinces the readers to agree with the writer's position on an issue. The answer? Persuasive text type. Number 3. Gives instructions on how to do something. The answer? Explanatory text type. Number 4, recall past experiences. The answer? Personal recount. Number 5, entertains through telling story. This is the first one that we discussed, and it is narrative text type. We're done with the first two modules, modules 5 and 6. We will now proceed with the last module, quarter number 4, and technically your last module for English 8. Module number 7, delivering a self-composed speech using all the needed speech conventions. So in this point, you will now deliver your own self-composed or your own composed speech. For a lot of people, especially the students, the prospect of standing and speaking in front of a group of or audience makes them feel nervous. Are you nervous when you do reporting? Are you nervous when you deliver a speech? Are you nervous when you answer your teacher's question? Now, if you are given the task to deliver a speech, what are you going to do? Here are the key tips for preparing a speech. First, organize your speech. Second, get to the point. Number 4, use short words and short sentences. Remember that. And number 5, persuade with power. Persuade with power. Now, here's the structure of speech. Your speech should have an introduction. This is the most important part of the speech, because in this part you will get the interest and the attention of the audience with the first words you utter, and we consider this the most crucial part of your speech. If you fail to get their attention in this part, they will not be inclined to listen to you. Number 2, or the second part of your speech, is the body. This contains all the information to support the idea that you have just presented in your introduction. It is the center part of the speech which explains and discusses the key ideas of the speech. So the body is very important as well. This part should be meaty. This part should be filled with information that supports your idea. And number 3, conclusion. This is very important. How you end your speech is very important as well, because it wraps up or summarizes the ideas discussed in the body of the speech. Now, here are the principles of speech delivery. Number 1, articulation. You need to pronounce the words and speak with clear diction that effectively transmits the message. Number 2, modulation. This is your capability to adjust or manipulate the resonance and timbre of the vocal tone. Number 3, principle of speech delivery, stage presence. This is your ability to own the stage and being able to fill the space and project the speaker's personality to the audience. Number 4, facial expression, gestures and movements. You build connections with audience and help emphasize your points. They convey your feelings as a speaker and add drama to your speech. And number 5, audience rapport. This is the trust and connection that the speaker creates with his or her audience. So here are the 5 principles of speech delivery: articulation, modulation, stage presence, facial expression, gestures and movements, and audience rapport. So there you have it, guys. This ends our module number 7 as well as this video lesson. Thank you so much for watching. And always remember, keep on learning. Thank you.
COVID-19 pandemic has unveiled an important number of vulnerabilities, as well as our weaknesses in preventing shocks. It has also shown that the magnitude of this challenge is exceeding the response capacity of any single partner or country. It represents, in fact, one of the most dramatic calls to work together. The success of this battle will greatly rely on our capacity to learn from experience and remain committed to the highest humanitarian values. Our real-life heroes are already giving the example. COVID-19 might be today's super villain, but it does not deter our real-life heroes from doing their job and tirelessly working to find ways to combat the threat and eventually beat the invisible nemesis. We mourn thousands who lost their lives to the virus across the globe, including my colleague, whom I have spoken of. At the same time, we join Filipinos in upholding, in the midst of great adversity, the tradition for celebrating of best human kindness, generosity, social justice, human rights, solidarity, and the Bayanihan spirit. We celebrate what makes our frontliners and humanitarian real-life heroes. We salute them for continuously putting their lives on the line despite the risks and uncertainties. The effort must not be overlooked or forgotten.
The COVID-19 pandemic has unveiled an important number of vulnerabilities as well as exposed our weaknesses in preventing shock. It has also shown the magnitude of challenges in exceeding the response capacity of any single partner or country. It represents, in fact, one of the most dramatic calls to work together. The success of this battle will greatly rely on our capacity to learn from experience and remain committed to the highest humanitarian values. Our real-life heroes are already giving the example. COVID-19 might be today's supervillain, but it does not deter our real-life heroes from doing their job and tirelessly working to find ways to combat the threat and eventually beat the invisible nemesis. We mourn the thousands who have lost their lives to the virus across the globe, including my colleague whom I have spoken of. At the same time, we join Filipinos in upholding, in the midst of great adversity, the tradition of celebrating the best human kindness, generosity, social justice, human rights, solidarity, and bayanihan spirit. We celebrate what makes our frontliners and humanitarian real-life heroes. We salute them for continuously putting their lives on the line despite the risks and uncertainties. Their effort must not be overlooked or forgotten.
The COVID-19 pandemic has unveiled an important number of vulnerabilities as well as exposed our weaknesses in preventing shocks. It has also shown that the magnitude of the challenge is exceeding the response capacity of any single partner or country. It represents, in fact, one of the most dramatic calls to work together. The success of this battle will greatly rely on our capacity to learn from experience and remain committed to the highest humanitarian values. Our real-life heroes are already giving the example. COVID-19 might be today's supervillain, but it does not deter our real-life heroes from doing their job and tirelessly working to find ways to combat the threat and eventually beat the invisible nemesis. We mourn the thousands who have lost their lives to the virus across the globe, including my colleague whom I have spoken of. At the same time, we join Filipinos in upholding, in the midst of great adversity, the tradition of celebrating the best of human kindness, generosity, social justice, human rights, solidarity, and bayanihan spirit. We celebrate what makes our frontliners and humanitarian real-life heroes. We salute them for continuously putting their lives on the line despite the risks and uncertainties. Their effort must not be overlooked or forgotten.
The COVID-19 pandemic has unveiled an important number of vulnerabilities as well as exposed our weaknesses in preventing shocks. It has also shown that the magnitude of the challenge is exceeding the response capacity of any single partner or country. It represents, in fact, one of the most dramatic calls to work together. The success of this battle would greatly rely our capacity to learn from experience and remain committed to the highest humanitarian values. Our real-life heroes are already giving the example. COVID-19 might be today's supervillain, but it does not deter our real-life heroes from doing their job and tirelessly working to find ways to combat the threat and eventually beat the invisible nemesis. We mourn the thousands who have lost their lives to the virus across the globe, including my colleague, whom I have spoken of. At the same time, we join Filipinos in upholding, in the midst of the great adversity, the tradition of the celebrating of best human kindness, generosity, social justice, human rights, solidarity, and bayanihan spirit. We celebrate what makes our frontliners and humanitarian real-life heroes. We salute them for continuously putting up their lives on the line despite of risks and uncertainties. Their efforts must not be overlooked and forgotten.
The COVID-19 pandemic has unveiled an important number of vulnerabilities as well as exposed our weaknesses in preventing shocks. It has also shown that the magnitude of the challenge is exceeding the response capacity of any single partner or country. It represents, in fact, one of the most dramatic calls to work together. The success of this battle will greatly rely on our capacity to learn from experience and remain committed to the highest humanitarian values. Our real-life heroes are already giving the example. COVID-19 might be today's supervillain, but it does not deter our real-life heroes from doing their job and tirelessly working to find the ways to combat the threat and eventually beat the invisible nemesis. We mourn the thousands who have lost their lives to the virus across the globe, including my colleague, whom I have spoken of. At the same time, we join Filipinos in upholding, in the midst of great adversity, the tradition of celebrating the best of human kindness, generosity, social justice, human rights, solidarity, and bayanihan spirit. We celebrate what makes our frontliners and humanitarian real-life heroes. We salute them for continuously putting their lives on the line despite the risks and uncertainties. Their effort must not be overlooked or forgotten.